Joe Gideon.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank and congratulate the Honourable Member for Romford for bringing forward this really important piece of legislation which fills the gap of, I think, the suite of legislation that's coming forward to help safeguard and strengthen our animal welfare. Animal welfare is close to my heart and it's one of the top issues that my constituents raise with me. This is not surprising given that the statistics locally, the RSPCA figures reveal that about 3,000 complaints about animal cruelty are made in Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire every year. Sadly, the West Midlands is one of the 10 animal cruelty hotspots over the last 5 years, which is why animal welfare is really amongst one of my top priorities. Animal cruelty horrifies our society, and figures tell us that there are suffering animals in Staffordshire who need help every day. It is shocking that people can be capable of such deliberate brutality towards animals, but equally it drives us on to ensure appropriate action is taken on animal welfare and related offences. And in particular, I'm grateful for the work being done locally by the RSPCA staff and volunteers who transform the lives of thousands of animals in Staffordshire every year. I fully support the aims of this bill, which will mean penalty notices can fill the enforcement gap between taking no action or seeking criminal prosecution. And I'm delighted that today's debate provides us with the opportunity to discuss how we can go further to improve animal health and welfare in this country. Several of my constituents selflessly volunteer at Animal Lifeline in Stoke-on-Trent, a fantastic charity that has cared for dogs for over 40 years, with approximately 100 dogs in care at any one time. Each year, the charity rescues and rehomes around 300 dogs and puppies, and has saved more than 11,000 over the years. A volunteer recently shared with me a number of concerns as a result of COVID. The pandemic has hit animal charities hard financially, due to charity shops having to close and kennels not being able to hold their usual open day fundraising events. Animal charities across Stoke-on-Trent and the county have also had to take in more animals than usual due to owners passing away, and having a reduction in income means that they can no longer afford to keep them. Or couples separating haven't been able to cope during this time. I mean, a lot of people we know look to animals during lockdowns, and a lot of people, acquired pets and then, were not able to look after them. I think this has been compounded by animal charities not being able to have visitors to view dogs suitable for adoption, and the inability to complete home checks of people who ring inquiring about adopting. I want to praise local animal charity staff who have been amazing, and many taking cuts in wages and finding innovative ways to reduce costs. The cost of living challenges are also pushing up the cost of essentials such as dog food, vet bills, utility bills, fuel and wages. And with all of this in mind, I think we should all look at the options to provide sufficient support to charities to ensure that they can continue to provide a vital service to our local communities. I've been involved in the National Food Strategy, and within that as well we look at a range of recommendations for improving animal welfare with regards to food production, and I think that obviously the government is looking at this moment in time. Thankfully, the UK already leads the world in animal welfare and livestock husbandry. The same cannot be said of many of the countries that we import from. Allowing cheap imports from such countries not only undermines our own standards, but also undercuts our farmers. And this is an issue that many people feel strongly about, with 94% of the public wanting existing food standards to be maintained in future trade deals. The National Food Strategy argues that when making new trade deals, the government should only agree to cut tariffs on products that meet our core standards. As such, I'm pleased the government recently launched a new Trade and Agriculture Commission, which will inform parliamentarians and the public about how new free trade deals are consistent with UK laws on animal welfare. However, I think the government must go further and draw up a list of core minimum animal welfare standards which it will defend in future trade deals. I'm pleased that when it announced the Australian deal, the government said there would include measures to protect our standards. It's reassuring that the deal contains a chapter on animal welfare, and I urge the government to come forward with more details as soon as possible to allow Parliament to sufficiently scrutinise that part of the deal. Once again, I would really like to congratulate the member for Romford on bringing forward this bill, which I'm delighted is being fully supported by government and the opposition benches. I look forward to continuing my own support for this legislation as it passes through the House, in addition to championing animal welfare causes in the years to come, whether this be for calling for more support for local animal charities or more animal welfare protections in future trade deals.